Peace and blessings, frequency hoppers. Peace and blessings. This is Empress Imani, and welcome to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. So today we're diving into a powerful energy awareness called frequency tethering. Frequency tethering is the hidden cords that keep you bound to all vibrations even after you've mentally decided to move on. But before we get started, let's take a deep breath to ground our energy. Inhale, exhale. What is frequency tethering? Frequency tethering happens when your energy remains attached to a person, situation, or identity that you have already outgrown but have yet to energetically release. It's the invisible thread between you and a past version of yourself. When we are tethered, our energy leaks backward instead of flowing forward. And that's why, even when you're doing all the right things, your manifestations still feel delayed. This is because part of your frequency is still caught in a misaligned timeline. So how are frequency tethers created? Frequency tethering forms when two energies lock in a repeating loop with each other. Not because they're aligned, but because something unhealed, unclaimed, or unregulated inside one person hooks into something reactive, dominant, or distorted in another. It's usually not a conscious choice. It's an energetic reflex. There are 12 primary frequency tether types. We're only going to cover a few today. A frequency tether can be unconsciously or consciously created. Ways to unconsciously create a frequency tether include: number one, when emotional Velcro meets emotional static. Every person carries open loops, places where they have not emotionally resolved something. When your open loop meets someone else's emotional static, a tether forms. For example, self-betrayal. Your need for validation latches on to their need for control. Your people-pleasing attaches to their avoidance or inconsistency. Your desire to fix, help, or feel needed hooks into their chaos or crisis cycles. This creates an energetic dependency that says, I need you to act a certain way so I can feel balanced. Number two, when repeated emotional exchanges create a signal pathway. Every time you interact with someone, you send out a frequency signal and receive one back. When those signals repeat in a predictable pattern, even if it's unhealthy, your nervous system memorizes the loop. This converts the interaction into an energetic auto-connect. Have you ever just been out? You've been somewhere and you've used their Wi-Fi before somewhere in public. And then when you go back to that place later on, your phone just automatically connects to that Wi-Fi network. Well, this type of frequency tether is like that. It converts the interaction into an energetic auto-connect. That is the tether. This type of tether can possibly lead to addiction. Number three, when you resonate through wounds, not wholeness. Tethers are rarely formed because two people are in high vibration. They often happen because two people share a wound signature. For example, abandonment codes, betrayal wounds, savior-martyr dynamics, power-powerless cycles, inner child unmet needs, emotional volatility patterns. Like recognizes like, even if the connection is destructive. This tether is a form of trauma bonding. So you have some people that will connect over trauma bonding. They have nothing else in common other than their trauma. When the nervous system sets the tone and yours follows. Frequency tethering often occurs when one person has the stronger emotional broadcast. Whoever has the most intense emotion becomes the lead signal. The other person unconsciously matches. Their panic becomes your panic. Their anger raises your heart rate. Their withdrawal makes you anxious. Their sadness dims your field. This frequency matching is involuntary unless you're trained to hold your own vibration. Now, some ways that you can consciously create a frequency tether include number one, when someone projects a frequency and you absorb instead of reflect. A tether forms when you receive their energy as if it's yours. This typically happens when your boundaries are porous, you are empathetically open. Shout out to all my empaths. Pay attention. This episode is especially for you. You over-identify with other people's emotions, or you confuse compassion with caretaking, or you are not grounded in your own energetic baseline. Once you take on someone's frequency, even for a moment, your field begins to track and adjust to them. This creates an automatic cord. This frequency tether can go either way. It can be conscious for them and unconscious for you, or unconscious for them and unconscious for you. So there was a time in my journey when my heart was wide open, you guys, and it was overflowing with love. I wanted to help. I wanted to uplift. I wanted to be a quiet blessing in the background of people's lives. That's where I like to operate, in the background. So I pray for people. I pray for people all the time. I send love and light to their hearts without even being asked. I whispered protection over their names. I held them in my energy, believing I was doing something kind and harmless. For a while, it felt good, like my soul was radiating in all directions. But over time, something unexpected began to unfold. One of the people I had been holding sacred space for began to behave strangely around me. They were uneasy, restless. Their mood shifted when I entered the room. Even when I said nothing at all, they just kind of seemed, pressed a little bit. I don't know. They told me that they felt off around me but couldn't explain why. One day during meditation, I saw it. I sensed a bright thread running from my heart to theirs. A line of compassion, yes, but also a line of influence, a line of access. It was a frequency tether. I had created the tether unintentionally. Every prayer, every moment of sending love and light, every emotional offering I poured toward them had woven an energetic cord that they could feel. My love was not the problem. It was the lack of permission. My heart meant well, but my field was extending without a conscious boundary. And their field, sensitive in its own way, was reacting to a connection it did not consciously invite. When I saw this, something awakened inside of me. I realized that love, even in its highest form, needs consent. Because not everyone wants your love, right? I realized that support needs invitation. It's okay to support people, but support needs invitation. Energetic offerings need agreement. So I made a choice that honored both myself and the people around me. I stopped praying for people unless they asked. I stopped sending love and light into fields that didn't explicitly welcome it. I reclaimed my heart's energy and brought it back home to me. And something beautiful happened. My field became clear. Their field became more steady. The unintentional frequency tether dissolved. From that moment forward, every blessing I send is sovereign, intentional, and a mutually agreed upon exchange. That's an example of an unconscious frequency tether. So to all my spiritual light workers out there, my earth angels, however you're operating in the light, always make sure that you get the other person's consent. If they ask for prayer, if they ask for love and light, that's different because that is consent. They're asking for it. But to just send it out blanketly to people, those people can feel our energy on the other side. And when I realized that I was disrupting her energetic field. So I just stopped with everyone completely. Unless you ask me, and people do ask me all the time, If you want me to hold space for you, leave a comment down below. I can put your name on the list. I can hold sacred space, right? But unless people ask me, I don't do it. An example of someone consciously creating a frequency tether is when you attend a motivational event where the speaker uses NLP. That's neuro linguistic programming. Now, in this example, the speaker is intentionally hooking into your emotions contained within your emotional body. Oftentimes, they will use this tactic by repeating certain words. Sometimes it will be the word yes. They will say yes multiple times back to back in rhythm, and then they will have you to respond with the same word yes. This is known as call and response. What they're doing is they're setting the pace for your breathing and your nervous system, and they're subconsciously encouraging you to lower your defenses. After they go through this process several times with you, they will employ a technique known as soft selling, where they're selling from the stage. They may use other words to allude, imply, or insinuate about a product, program, or something that they're trying to sell you. At this point, you're already on the hook, okay? Because throughout the entire process, they have been selling to you. They have already hooked into your emotions. Now, this is only if you're open. Not everybody's open, right? But for those who are open, they've already hooked into your emotions. At this point, they've already taken advantage, okay, of the opening, okay? They're already using their powers on the dark side. The average person won't understand that a frequency tether is being created. They will think it was their idea, and even then, they will buy whatever the person is selling. This is just one example. We can often see this type of frequency tether created in churches. You have the call and response. You see that in churches, you see it at political rallies, you see it at motivational events, you can see it at sporting events. This is something normal that most people see in everyday life, but it's just that you're not aware of it, right? You don't know this is what's happening. The second way you can consciously create a frequency tether is when energetic debts and exchanges lock the cord in place. For example, energetic, I owe you, you owe me patterns create some of the strongest tethers. Some examples include you rescued them, they guilt-tripped you, you stabilized them emotionally, they praised or validated you during a low moment, or you had an intense emotional or physical connection. That is one common place where you can create a frequency tether. These exchanges create a contract-like energetic imprint. We call these karmic debts. This type of frequency tether can lead to a soul contract. And that's where you feel a connection to the person in your soul. I know this seems really far-fetched if you're not familiar with these terms or you've never heard of this before. But there is such a thing as soul contracts and soul ties. Now, in this case, we're talking about frequency tethers. Frequency tethers and soul ties are not the same thing. They're not formed the same way. They can be, right? It can start off as a frequency tether and then it can lead to a soul tie. But usually frequency tether is like the entry way into your emotional body. It's the gateway. Soul tie, that's a whole nother episode, okay? This type of tether can lead to a soul tie. And that's where you feel the person in your soul. And when you feel the person in your soul, you feel what they feel. You can feel when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're crying. You can feel when they're making love. You feel that in your body, in your soul. You can feel what they're thinking. And sometimes you can even hear what they're thinking, right? You can intercept their thoughts. It's incredible, okay? Number 3, when there is psychic or spiritual enmeshment. When someone is thinking about you constantly, worrying about you, watching you, or energetically pulling on you, your field may respond if there's an opening. And this can create mental intrusions, emotional spikes that are not yours, physical sensations that appear without cause, a sense of being pulled into their emotional state. This frequency tethering is at a psychic level. Intensity creates an energetic thread. Be mindful of this type of frequency tether when you're dealing with a Scorpio. Shout out to all my Scorpios out there. We're in Scorpio season right now. But when you're dealing with a Scorpio, because naturally their energy is super, super intense, okay? And that's Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. Their energy is usually very intense. So just off top, when you're dealing with them, you have to be mindful, because a frequency tether forms anytime your energy becomes regulated by, dependent on, or reactive to another person's emotional or vibrational state. It's a loop that says your energy dictates mine. When you learn to hold your own baseline, you break the loop and the tether dissolves. Now, keep in mind, an intentional frequency tether can be used for malicious purposes. A distorted person can use a frequency tether to drain your emotional energy. They pull vitality, clarity, and peace from your field by keeping you emotionally reactive or unsettled. They keep you thinking about them. A frequency tether can stir sudden memories, guilt, longing, anxiety, confusion. You could be asking yourself, why am I thinking about them? This pulls you out of your sovereign frequency. Intentional frequency tethers can influence your decisions or your actions. They don't control your mind. This is not mind control, but they can influence your frequency, which influences what you feel, what you're drawn to, what you avoid, your sense of clarity. This can be very subtle, but it's very real. It's a real thing. They can also track your emotional state. Some people can feel when the person they tethered pulls away or moves on. And they react like with sudden messages, blowing up your phone, playing on your phone, that sort of thing, emotional outbursts, guilt tactics, energetic interference. This is why you might feel watched spiritually, even when you're physically alone. They can also prevent you from closing the chapter. This can show up as stuck grief. You are grieving over the relationship. The relationship is ended, but you're still feeling grief and sadness and depression behind this relationship that is complete, right? And you might have difficulty detaching, or this person may show up in your dreams. You may have reoccurring dreams about this person. You may have random emotional spikes, or there may be a sense of unfinished business. You feel like you need closure or something with this person. If you feel any of this, you're tethered, okay? The tether keeps the loop alive. So, how can you tell if you're tethered? Well, I gave you a few examples. I'll give you a few more. You know you're tethered when you feel obligated to hold space for people who no longer reciprocate. I mean, just sit with that. Think about what I just said. You feel obligated to hold space for people who no longer reciprocate. You sense a guilt for evolving, as if somehow you're leaving them behind and you feel guilty. There's that. You notice emotions and feelings from past experiences that pull you out of your peace. Anything that's pulling on your peace, that's taking you away from peace, that's a tether. Or you find yourself explaining your worth to those who don't value it. Keep in mind that frequency tethering usually occurs at a low vibration. Okay, so this is not good. So how do you release the frequency tether? The first thing you want to do is identify the signature of the tether. A tether always reveals itself through one or more of these signs. Persistent thoughts about someone, emotional heaviness or looping, feeling pulled toward or away from them, anxiety that activates only when they're near or thinking of you, receiving emotional states that don't feel like yours. Awareness is the first step. Once you see the tether, you can lovingly untie it. Number 2, call your energy back. This is a quiet, powerful reclaiming moment. Close your eyes and say silently or aloud, I call my energy back from every place, person, moment, and memory that is not meant to hold it. I call my energy back from every place, person, moment, and memory that is not meant to hold it. You may feel a shift in your chest or your solar plexus right above your navel, warmth in your hands, or a sudden sense of clarity. That is your field retracting its cords. Number 3, identify what part of you allowed the tether. Not from blame, only from understanding. Ask your inner self, was it fear of losing connection? Was it wanting approval? Was it guilt, obligation, hope, familiarity? Tethers dissolve faster when you understand why they formed. Number 4, disconnect the emotional circuitry. Frequency tethers are emotionally conductive. To release them, you unplug the emotional wire. Place your hand on your heart and say, I release all emotional energy that does not belong to me. I release all emotional energy that does not belong to me. Feel the emotional charge drop. This clears the hook that the tether uses to stay active. Number 5, break the energetic cord. Now comes the actual severing. Use whichever imagery feels most natural. You can look at it as cutting a cord or unhooking a plug, peeling away a thread, removing a chain, breaking a chain, closing an open channel. As you do it, declare, this connection is complete. Only what is mine remains. This connection is complete. Only what is mine remains. Your body will tell you when the cord releases. You'll feel a shift, a softening, or a breath that suddenly feels easier. Number 6, seal your field. A tether needs an opening to stay attached. You're closing that opening. Visualize a spear of light surrounding you. The spear becoming solid, warm, and protective. Then say, my field is closed to all frequencies not aligned with my truth. My field is closed to all frequencies not aligned with my truth. This seals the release. So you release it first and then you seal it. Number 7, reset your frequency. After releasing a tether, your field is recalibrating. You want to fill the space with your own essence. Use one of these. Breath work. Inhale your name and then exhale your freedom. Inhale your name, then exhale your freedom. That's the breath work. Or you can visualize. See yourself glowing in your highest color. See yourself glowing in your highest color. Now, some affirmations that you can say. I am sovereign in my energy. I am sovereign in my energy. Or, my emotions belong only to me. My emotions belong only to me. Or, I stand in my true frequency. I stand in my true frequency. This anchors you back into your natural rhythm. Number 8, watch for residue. Sometimes small echoes linger. These are not tethers, just memory residual. Signs of residue might be occasional thought flare-ups, phantom emotions, brief anxiety, energetic memories. To clear residue, simply say, this is not mine anymore. This is not mine anymore. The imprint should dissolve instantly. Number 9, maintain emotional sovereignty, especially if the tether was strong. Again, a frequency tether is not a soul tie, okay? If you are dealing with a soul tie, that's a whole nother conversation we need to have. It's a whole set of other things that have to take place to cut the soul tie, okay? But you can strengthen your field by grounding through your breath, closing energetic loops after interactions. Because sometimes you can't just get rid of the people, right? Sometimes you still have to, especially if you work with these people or their family, you still have to see these people. So after you interact with them, then you still need to close the energetic loop after each interaction. Okay? Do that privately. Notice when something feels like it's not yours. So you have to be in tune with your emotional body so you can know what's yours and what's not yours. And then use micro frequency hops to stay in your center. Now, a micro frequency hop is where you designate where you want to go next. If you say, I want to be more clear, I want to have more clarity, then you say, I am embodying the frequency of clarity. I am in harmony with the frequency of clarity. You choose it for yourself where you want to go, right? And that's how you hop into the next frequency. These practices reinforce your sovereign state, so no new tether forms. Now, some other things that you can do to dissolve a frequency tether or to just maintain your sovereignty is, one, to focus on sovereignty. Sovereignty is the key, okay? It's the key in all things where you're not dependent upon someone else's energy, someone else's anything. It's to be sovereign within your own energetic self, within your own universe. You are the universe. You are the goddess God of your universe. So in order for you to be that, you must be sovereign. And as a result of that, you have to master your emotions and strengthen your emotional body. Now, I highly recommend that you check out the Stoics. I love the Stoics. My two favorite are Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. Find something on them. Go on YouTube. You can find some books. You can find some videos about Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, their work. And you can learn how to master your emotions. Number 2, put some distance between you and the other person. Now, even though when we talk about energy and frequency, there's no time and space, right? No distance. Realistically, if you want to get out of someone's energy field, you can put physical space between you and them, and that will help somewhat. It's kind of like during COVID, how they was telling us all to stay 6 feet apart. That's why, so you can get out of the person's magnetic field that surrounds their body. So put some distance between you and the other person, physical distance. Number 3, avoid watching or listening to the person, because those are other ways that someone can tap into your frequency. So avoid that. Number 4, stop having sex with the person, okay? If you have a frequency tether, more importantly, if you have a soul tie, you got to stop having sex with them. Sexual energy is so potent. And that's a whole nother conversation that we can have about, you'll hear people say sex magic. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Sexual alchemy is a real thing. And people manifest with that energy all the time. It's also a way for someone to get into your energy field, for someone to get into your soul. You can get into someone's soul through sex. Okay? So if you have a frequency tether and you're having sex with the person, abstain from that for a while. Okay? I'm not saying it has to be forever. I mean, if it's toxic and unhealthy, that's on you. You gotta, make your own decisions and lean into your own intuition about that. But what I am saying is just abstain. When you abstain from sex, it will help you to see more clearly. You will have more clarity because you will get this person, especially if it's a male, you will get this person out of your energy field. Okay? Then number 5, don't send energy. Don't send energy. Love and light or the other kind either. Some people send malicious intent. Don't send that either. Okay? Just so you know that this universe that we live in is built on laws, spiritual laws, right? And whatever you give out is what you receive in return. So if you put out malicious intent, guess what you're going to get back? Malicious intent. If you put out love and light, you will get love and light back. But don't send that out unless you have the consent, mutually agreed upon consent from the other person. Because not everybody wants your love. Not everybody wants your light. And I had to learn that, okay? I had to learn that. Not everybody wants that. But if they do want it, get their consent first before you send it out. Just don't do it blindly is what I'm saying. I'll leave you with this final thought. Untethering opens the way for realignment, a sacred return to your truth. It honors your growth, your clarity, and your expansion. As you rise, your light becomes a beacon for your journey and for those awakening beside you. So call your energy home and stand radiant in your truth. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. I am the Universe Now What. Wherever you are in the world, don't forget to click that like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone who is ready to release the past and step into their frequency freedom. And until we speak again, be the light.